What's up, Schwartz Force? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the Accurist dive watch. There's a story with this one though, so before we hop into my quick little review on this, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Adrian Sales over at the Somewhere in Time YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed to him, go ahead and do so now. He's an awesome stand-up guy, husband, father, and of course watch fam, friend of the YouTube community and the watch community in general. So he surprised me with sending over a care package all the way from the UK to Texas, and included with it was this Accurist watch. These you cannot easily get here stateside. It is a UK based out of London, I believe. I can't really say it's a micro brand because they have been around since I think like the 50s, if I'm not mistaken. The information's on their website, really cool, but can't really say it's a micro brand. But they have some really cool design watches, and this is one that he sent to me to keep. I'm blown away, along with some snacks and some goodies. Adrian, those things were awesome. I ate them all up. I gave a few to my wife. She wasn't really like interested in some of them just because she's a real picky eater and snacker. But regardless, I probably gained like 5 pounds, so thanks a lot. Thanks. I was tonneau shaped, and now I'm more of a round case. Fat jokes. Yeah, perfect. It's okay, it's temporary. Anyway, Adrian has done a full review on this watch, so I don't want to do the same. I'm going to point you over to his channel, so check out his full review on the Accurist dive watch I have here. I'm just going to share with you my initial thoughts, and after wearing it on the wrist for about 2 weeks, my thoughts on it. So I actually have some plans with possibly doing a mod if that's possible on this watch. I'm going to get with Brandon over at Case and Dial. He's the one who actually modded this Seiko Fuyugeshiki watch, which I have on my wrist today. And in case you didn't know, it's a great day to wear a watch. And if you're new to the channel, my name's Dave. May the Schwartz be with you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a quick look at this watch. I'm going to turn the camera around. But if you haven't joined the Schwartz Force yet, please hit subscribe. Join the channel now. I'd love to have you be part of the family. Let's get into it. Hey, did you know it's a great day to wear a watch? All right, guys, voila, here it is, the Accurist dive watch. You can see I got my Better Than Design Studio Rolex little acrylic print here, just kind of changing up the vibe and look of my layout. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, if you like it, or if I should go back to my old style. I'm just experimenting at this point. Anyways, so I don't want to do a full unboxing and review of this video again. This is something that Adrian had already done on his channel, so I'm going to link it down in the description. Make sure you go send him some love, check out his full review and unboxing. But this is the watch in the black dial with that black bezel, and I love the kind of contrast with this blue second hand. Just gives it some pop. Now before we get into the dimensions of this watch, quick shout out for the yoga hands. It's back, it's black, and it's on the attack. And basically I'm going to kind of talk about the design of this watch overall. When I first look at this, I'm getting a mixture of 3 specific watches that come to mind. The first being the Tudor Pelagos, with the way that this kind of bezel looks. And mainly, even though it doesn't have the square hour markers applied to the dial, you see how the Rayhot is kind of cut away where those hour markers lay in there. And when I first saw that, immediately the Pelagos came to mind. I'm sure it's not the only watch that has that design, but that's just kind of what popped in my head. The other is it has reminiscent hour and minute hands to the Blancpain 50 Fathoms bathyscaphe. And so that I really like, that kind of, I don't know what these, kind of has that paddle look to it with those hour and minute hands. Really cool. And then of course, kind of getting a Seiko SPB vibe. I know Miguel over at SoCal Watch Reviews, he recently got his, his Grail watch. And when I saw this layout, that's kind of another thing I thought of, kind of tying all of these watches in together, which I love. I love this watch. I am kind of blown away at the specs of this thing for what it is, and that's a great segue into the specs. So we're looking at case dimensions of 42 millimeter case with the crown that's going to put us at 45.7 millimeters. Lug to lug height is 49 millimeters, as you can see, and we have 13 millimeters thickness on the case. Now the bracelet here has a 22 millimeter lug, and that does taper down to 20 millimeters. So you can see this is a solid stainless steel bracelet. Unfortunately, it has a stamped clasp, but it is a safety clasp, so it has that latch there. Not a deal breaker for me. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't just spend the extra couple dollars and put a milled clasp. They went all the way and did solid end links, solid links. They did everything else right. I don't know why they skimped on the bracelet, but for whatever reason, it's not a deal breaker for me. And we'll do a strap swap here in a second so you can see that as well. And then just to show you, do a quick wrist roll, how it sits on my 7-inch wrist. So that 13mm thickness, not the thickest watch I've worn, and it actually wears really well. I feel like the proportions of it fit my wrist just right. 49, I want to say, like, once you start getting into the 50mm lug to lug height, a lot of smaller wrists aren't going to be able to pull this watch off, but for my 7-inch wrist, I think it works really well. And then let's go ahead and get up close on the dial, and we'll talk a bit about that as well. Okay, so now that we're a little bit closer on this watch, let's talk a bit about the materials being used. So we have a full 316L solid stainless steel case. It does have a screw down case back. So I like the bead blasting design that they did on the back of the case. And as you can see, indications of water resistance of 200 meters. And then the sapphire crystal is a Japan movement, caliber 2117. I'm not sure exactly which movement that is, but I will say I love the Accurist font and logo. It kind of looks like a Avengers, you know, Avengers logo, which is cool. And as you can see, those spring bars there with the solid end links. So very cool. Ceramic bezel, 120 click, and it is tight. Look, let me hold this watch down. I mean, zero playback. This thing is really, really nice. Sounds great. Tactile feel is great. It's very tight, but not so tight that it's frustrating to use. I got to admit, this is one of the nicer bezel actions on a watch that I've experienced. It's really, really good. There is lume on the pip, but there is no lume on the rest of the bezel, which is a shame because I feel like being a ceramic bezel, if these indices and numbers had been lumed, that would have been really cool, but they're not. So again, just one of those things that would have made the watch even better, but by no stretch is that a deal breaker. Now there is a lume applied to the minute and hour hands as well as all of the hour indices, and the lume on this watch is really good. It stays bright enough to see throughout the night. I charged this up and actually left it overnight. As I woke up, you know, in the middle of the night to take the dogs out or whatever, I would check it in pure darkness and I could still read the time, no issues. So that really took me by surprise with this particular watch. We are getting a screw down crown as well. As you can see, we got the the Accurist logo there. So it's funny because with screw down crowns, I always unscrew them and then I try to hand wind and I realize, oh wait, this is a quartz movement. So the date window there at 4 o'clock is a little bit small. I would have enjoyed a black date wheel, would have been really cool, and maybe if it was a little bit larger. And then of course we see indication of 200 meters water resistance on the dial above 6 o'clock, and then Accurist logo at 12 o'clock. I like these blue numerals as well in increments of 5 along that Rayhot or chapter ring there. A little hard to read because of the color, but I like that it ties in with the blue. So this watch has really made me appreciate the Accurist branding. One of my projects, I'm going to reach out to Brandon with case and dial, and I'm going to see if it's even possible to swap out this quartz movement with an automatic movement. If that is a possibility, especially if I can do like a black date wheel that'll fit that position, in a heartbeat, I will gladly pay for the parts and pay him for his time. So I'm going to reach out to Brandon with case and dial, and I'm going to see if that's a project that we can tackle. We do have sapphire crystal on the front, so really the only thing that would make this watch better, in my opinion, without changing out the bezel, is putting in an automatic movement. So we'll see if that's possible. So one of the last things that I wanted to go over was just how this watch plays with different straps. Being a dive watch, I couldn't wait to get it onto the Artem sailcloth strap. Now at this point in time where this video is coming out, Artem makes straps that have blue contrast stitching, which I know would have been just the perfect pairing with this watch, and maybe I'll pick one up. We'll see, because I think it would look so cool to have blue contrast stitching with this particular watch. And there you have it on my 7-inch wrist with the Artem strap. I think it plays nicely, and the 22mm option I think was good because a 20mm would have made the watch look a little bit larger than how it actually wears. So good job, Accurist. I think they knocked it out of the park with this watch. Now, if I can successfully have an automatic movement placed into this watch, I'll definitely do a video on that, and I'll do an update even if I'm not able to. But let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think of the Accurist dive watch I got from Adrian? Again, big thank you to Adrian for sending this in for me to keep. It is going to hold a special place in my collection forever. So thank you so much, Adrian. Again, make sure you subscribe to his channel, send some love his way. Now, if you haven't joined the Schwartz Force yet, it's not too late. You can tap my face over here and join the family. Would love to have you be part of the Schwartz Force. And if you enjoyed this video, you can check this one out here. I know you guys will like it, but I'll look forward to seeing you guys at the next one. And as always, may the Schwartz be with you. Take care.